Right now when we build Krita from source, we're building from the master branch. We haven't really talked about how Krita does all of its branching and the way it does its versioning when it releases programs. I think learning a little bit about that can help when testing things. If a developer has some new features that he wants other developers to test, or kind of whenever you're wanting to maybe do some code and if you're not sure the best place to put it. So I just went to the source directory and I'm just going to launch Qt. I'm going to show all the branches. So of course we're in master right now. It's the default one that you get whenever you kind of clone the repository. Krita uses the master branch pretty much for its lifeline of all of the development stuff. In general, it's pretty stable. We generally only try to push things to master whenever they have a lot of code review. Sometimes there's small things that get in there that make it kind of unstable, or sometimes things don't work on different operating systems that we didn't test on. So I mean, usually the build systems will find that out pretty quickly, but for the most part it's actually a pretty good branch to have by default. The way a lot of developers work is they create branches with their name on it, their last name, their first name, depending on how they do it, and then they just do a / and then kind of the project they're working on. Like these two branches have tasks associated with it in our project management system, but they don't always do, and I mean it's not completely necessary to do. Like this one, this news widget one doesn't. I think this has a task, but yeah, I mean it's not that big of a deal. The way we do, this doesn't show, I don't know if this shows, let's see if it has versions. Usually whenever we do versions, oh here we go. So I guess this is a tag, I think, the yellow. So I think this is whenever we're getting versions of it that we're separating, and here's kind of 4.0. So usually when we make releases, we usually take either if it's a minor release like 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, we'll usually take it off master. Usually if it's like when we go to Krita 5.0, what that usually means is that there's a good chance that Krita 4.0 or 4.x files won't load correctly. So that's usually when we bump it up a major version. A minor version like the 4.1, 4.2 usually means we're adding new features and we're fixing bugs, but your existing KRA files should still work. And then if they have an extra one like 4.1.1, those are really just bug fix releases. So usually with those is we take an existing release and then we just kind of cherry pick certain bug fixes that we kind of want to include in it. So that's kind of how all the versioning works for it. In terms of how this applies to you doing code, I guess what it would be is by default, I mean we're starting on the master branch. We can kind of see all the branches we have by just doing a git branch. I generally don't like to work on master unless there's something that I can code and push out pretty quickly within maybe a day or two. If there's any chance it needs review or if it's going to need more time, it's kind of a mess working on master, because as soon as it starts getting out of sync with other updates that people are getting, it's really easy to have conflicts and things like that. So if you're just starting out, it's probably better to work in other branches. So to create another branch, all we have to do is just go git branch, and then I'll just type my last name, and then I'll just do changes type of thing. So that created a branch, but that didn't actually check it out. Like, see, I'm on branch master right now. It sees that I have this, but I'm not actually working on it. That's what this asterisk means. It's saying, it just says, hey, you're currently on the master branch. So to actually change it, we just do git checkout Petrovic, and then just type in the name, and then we'll just check again with a git branch, and then we see that yes, we're on this branch now. So you can kind of do all of your code changes in a branch, and then when we later get into doing diffs and submitting things for reviews, it actually makes it, I think it makes it quite a bit easier to do.